Power Lunch. This is our August Power Lunch, and all of you know that it has been co-working month, so we have had a jam-packed month full of great happenings, and we're coming to the end of this very wonderful month. But we always take someone, and we want to take extra care when we get our Power Lunch speaker for August, so we want to have somebody who's going to give us some great tidbits of information to come back with. Today we have MagicBrad Gudim. Brad, I just want to know, why do they call you MagicBrad?
That's in my first story. You're going to stick around.
Okay, I am going to stick around, and I just was always wondering, because I always see MagicBrad and magic. I wonder what made you magic, because I think there's a lot of things that make magic, right? I've heard that MagicBrad is part of a hot new generation of business and product promoters. He acquired his street smarts the old-fashioned way through first-hand experience. Went to that school. I went to that school as well. Solving problems that can stop others cold, turning small into big, big into bigger. His credits include an impressive and varied list of trade shows, sales, marketing expos, and product promotions. Clients include the Marriott Hotels, SEMA Labs, Schulte Associates, Loss Prevention Services, Sales by Phone, Direct Service Transport, Rapid Graphics, Pella Windows, and many more. Brad consults for exhibitors, marketers, and sales teams. His projects include the Honeywell Mission Impossible sales meeting, special effects for the Colonnade Baca sculpture by Trammell Crow, technical assistance for Target Great Line Grand Opening, Casper presentation, technician for the floating pearl effect for Aveda. Bet that was fun. It was. Presenter for the Wanted Dead or Alive promotion in the St. Paul Pioneer Press, and regional spokesperson for the corporate name change of Citicorp Mortgage. Brad is part of the fast forward-thinking wave of new sales professional. He's creative, he's intuitive, he's inventive, and savvy. He fully intends to continue his winning streak and help his clients to thrive in the challenging new business environments of tomorrow. Brad's topic this morning, the magic of experiential marketing with live events. A live event that we have today, going out to our other 6 locations. So if there's questions and things like that for Brad, we'll make sure. If you could silence your phones for a moment, we'd be glad to welcome MagicBrad.
Please don't stop. So I'll get right to it. The reason I call myself MagicBrad is because I started doing magic when I was a very small child, probably about 5 years old. A guy made a quarter disappear and pulled it out of my ear and just got me fascinated with magic. And then the MagicBrad thing came in when the internet came along, and I knew there would be a lot of confusion between the Brents and the Bryans and the Brandons and the other Brads, so I wanted to create this little brand that was recognizable, and it seems to work, as you saw it. So that's where the MagicBrad thing comes from. I did start doing magic when I was a little kid, and I've always been pretty much self-employed, and I've always been in events, I realized, because when I was young, I signed up, I think it was on Casey Jones or something like that. I got this fundraiser kit for the Muscular Dystrophy Association, and you do a little event at your home, and I would turn our riding lawnmower into a train by tying a bunch of wagons behind it, and I'd charge the kids a quarter to ride the train. And then I would do things like turn my garage into a movie theater by hanging up a bed sheet and playing Super 8 movies on it. You know, I was a teenage werewolf, and Bride of Frankenstein and all that kind of stuff, and I'd charge the kids a quarter, and I'd sell them popcorn for a quarter. I didn't have any swag or anything at that time, but I would do magic shows in my garage and charge the neighborhood, money. And I've always been entrepreneurial. I was the kid that would buy candy in bulk and then resell it at school at profit. So I've always been around the whole business world too. When I graduated high school in 1975, barely, I said, what do I do now? And people said, you should get a job. So I did. I got a job with the Nook County Parks and Rec Department, and I worked for about 3 years. I had my shirt with my name on it, and I would go out and I would use a chainsaw and mow the lawns, and I did that for about 3 years, and I got laid off. And I thought, well, where's my gold watch? How come I don't have a job here anymore? So I learned early that I wanted to be self-employed, where I was in control of my own life. And because of the magic thing, that's what got me into the events industry, working for corporate events like you heard in the intro, and doing association conventions and trade shows and things of that sort. I would do like private parties and weddings and churches and fairs and festivals and things like that too, but the event world has always been part of what I've done. And So one of the things that I did, one of the events that I did, and we still do, I created back in 1990. I sort of took it over. I don't know if you ever heard the name Patty Sachs Meshbesher. You might know her.
Yep.
She created this party planning, your special event. It was more of a for party planning stuff rather than corporate type stuff. And I sort of took it over, and I realized that this would be a great way for me to generate leads as a magician. So I did this event, and I would invite all the event planners from Target, Cargill, Medtronic, 3M, Honeywell, General Mills, Pillsbury, and I would invite them to this trade show where they can find all their resources. They would be looking for caterers, balloon decorators, staging, lighting, limousine services, hotels, casinos, cruises on the lake, cruises on the river. And there was one magician there by strange coincidence. That was me. So they would come and they'd fill out this little form. I'm Peggy from 3M, and we got a budget of $15,000. We're doing a company picnic at Tartan Park for 3,000 people, and we need a tent and a bouncy thing for the kids, a pig roaster, and a magician. And I go, there's a lead. I know how much money they have, when they're going to spend it. So I used a live event to attract that crowd, and I started building this big list of people. And then I would do postcard mailings 4 times a year, and I would just mail out to these people and say, it's company picnic time, or add some magic to your holiday event, or hire a magician as a speed bump to slow people when they're going by your trade show booth, and use magic as a marketing thing. So that got me into realizing that events are one of the best ways to market a product, service, or cause, because you know that, like with the internet, it's generate the lead, then it's developing that relationship. That's what takes time. Coming to all these networking events, going to B&I, and coming here and networking, that's what takes the time. And then you close the sale. But it's so much, it accelerates it so much when you've got a relationship that you're building. So at a live event, you can do that kind of thing. So I'm going to go over some examples of events that I created. And some people think, okay, if you're going to do something like a big trade show, that's a lot of work. You got to go rent the space, you got to get insurance, you got to sell all the booth spaces, you got to invite all the people. There's other ways of doing events where you don't necessarily have to do all of that work by leveraging someone else's event, kind of like I'm doing now. You guys have to do all the work, I just have to stand up here, and I get to speak my message out to the people here. So another thing that I did, this was I used to be part owner of the Funny Bone Comedy Club down in Uptown, and adjacent to that building was Williams Uptown. And every Wednesday at Williams, they had complimentary hors d'oeuvres that you just come in and you buy your cocktails, and then you get these free hors d'oeuvres. And they had quite a spread with all the stuff. They had a guy with a big hat, carving roast beef at the end of the table. And it was free. I thought, this is kind of cool. So because the Funny Bone and I was part owner of it, I could get complimentary passes to see the Wednesday night show, because that's a slow night, so they wanted to fill the seats, the butts and seats, right? So it cost me, what I did is I mailed out to my A-list, the Target, the Cargill, Medtronic, 3M. I did 10 letters, and I got a response of 8. So I had an 80% response to that 10-letter invitation I sent out. They came to Williams Uptown, I got to talk with them, they had their complimentary hors d'oeuvres, they had their cocktails that they paid for. Williams Pub liked it because they sold more drinks. Then we went over to the Funny Bone after and saw a show, and the people got to sit in the front row, and the Funny Bone liked it because they sold more drinks. The comics liked it because they had somebody to talk to. The people liked it because they got a free night of cocktails and fun and meeting some people. And I liked it because I got all the glory out of it. It cost me 8 postage stamps and a letter. So that was something, I didn't have to do anything. I didn't have to coordinate anything other than sending out a letter and then show up. Everything happened by itself. So that's an example of not having to actually create the event, just take advantage of the event. Another example is Featherlight Displays. They were doing their open house, and they do this kind of stuff, the trade show displays. And they were doing an open house, they had this big backlit graphic that they wanted to introduce to the marketplace. So what we did is we brought in some associated people that were not competitive, but they were complementary. So we had a caterer that did an edible floral display, beautiful and pretty. We brought in a photographer, and the photographer took pictures of the edible floral display, and then we used that graphic to put on the backlit graphic, so it was bright and vibrant. We did a postcard invitation, so Bachman printed up, they were part of the sponsorship, so this wasn't costing us any money to have a photographer, have a caterer, have a printer. And then we had a large format graphic person. We had me as a trade show magician working in the trade show booth. We had a mannequin in motion. She's a robotic mannequin person, and people like to see that kind of stuff in a trade show. We had the swag people that do the imprinted pens and all that. They came in. So all of these people were, again, non-conflicting or competitive. Quite honestly, an exhibitor could come in and use all of our services. They could hire a magician to be in their trade show display and get the pens and hire the large format graphic printer. They could use all those resources, and they're not competing against each other. So we all work together in synergy to get an audience there. And then we had my friend Ron Eccles that taught about effective trade show marketing. So he did a free presentation, and all the exhibitors came in, the marketing managers came in. They got to get this education from Ron. They had complimentary hors d'oeuvres. They got all these resources that they can use. And that didn't really take much to do other than phone calls to get these people to orchestrate and all work and synergistically invite that crowd of exhibit marketing managers. It's all the same job title. It's all the same people that exhibit at trade shows, and they could all benefit from it. So then another example is Paradise Charters. Paradise Charters out on Lake Minnetonka and the Mississippi River. He's got, I think, 5 boats. He's got the Minneapolis Queen, and he's got the Paradise Lady, a yacht on the river, and he's got 3 others on Lake Minnetonka. So you got 2 options. You could either rent the boat for a group, which might be fairly expensive, or you can just go to one of their existing events and do your event and invite your people on it. So say, for example, a real estate agent wanted to find first-time home buyers. This is where the social media element comes to it. And before I mention that, one interesting thing about events is that an event has a deadline to it, so it creates that sense of urgency as you get closer and closer. It builds momentum, and people get more and more interested in it because it's got that deadline date to it. So you pick a date, say, I think he does Taco Tuesdays, so on the boat. You just go to Paradise Charters and you use the keyword synergy. Your people will get a discount for using that word, synergy, when they go on the boat. And then what you do is you create this event on Facebook. Now they're already doing these public events, and I think they charge like $30 for the cruise, and you go and you have tacos and cocktails and all kind of stuff. So you can do a Facebook event and target people. If, like, you're a real estate agent, you can target people that are first-time home buyers or people that are interested in that they're moving in the next 6 months. You can target those people on Facebook, unless they've changed that algorithm. I'm not sure, because they do that all the time. And you can invite all these people to come to the boat. Now, all you have to do is stand there with some kind of shirt or something that says real estate and welcome them on the boat. And then that's where you got 3 hours to be on a boat where they can't run away, they can't leave. And you can create and build that relationship. And they appreciate you inviting them on this thing. If you wanted, you can even buy their ticket if you wanted to invest a little money into it.
That's why I always tell people, don't network on a boat. Unless you really want to be with that group, because you almost want to throw yourself off sometimes, right?
You can go to the back and see if they got
Yeah,
fishing
exactly.
pole. Someone's got some skis or something. So getting into the social media element of it, what I found that works really good is you can use Facebook events that integrates with Eventbrite. Everybody heard of Eventbrite? It's a well-known platform, so people aren't skeptical of, clicking that button. So you can go on to Eventbrite, and then from Eventbrite, you can have that so it automatically feeds that into MailChimp. You can also do it, I think, with Zapier. You can use that to integrate into HubSpot, and probably a lot of other different CRMs. So what happens there is, as you announce this event, the lead comes in, it goes into Eventbrite, then it goes into your system, and it's already in your automated campaign. So it's a real easy way to generate leads for whatever your industry is, and you can use that Facebook targeting to really get specific. So when I do things like this, I end up using the job title of event planner and interest in wedding planning, event planning, catering, balloon decorating. You can find all these people in there, and then I hit a little 20-mile radius of Minneapolis, and it's very, very specific for the types of people you're trying to reach. So I got moving too fast because I do that sometimes, and I forgot that I was going to show you something with a piece of dental floss. because I want to show you some magic. You guys like magic?
Yeah, that's what we're waiting
It is
for.
fun.
Yes.
Magic is kind of weird. Oh, the way it works, it's the hand is quicker than the eye is what they say. So I'm going to explain that. This ring, okay? This ring, I'm going to show you how the hand is quicker than the eye. So the ring goes here. Now watch the ring. From here to here, watch. Whoa, is that weird? I know! It bugs me too.
But you're gonna explain
Do it again.
I wanna know the secret.
Oh, if I did it again, it looked the same.
Yeah. I wanna know the secret.
Actually, you don't want those
Tune
secrets.
in.
And I'll tell you why. A lot of people, that's the whole thing with magic. It happens in your brain.
Yeah.
So as soon as you expose the secret, believe me, it's not that impressive. The analogy I use is kind of like do you believe in Santa Claus?
Right.
Some people don't. They think it's their dad. That takes a lot out of it. You leave the milk and the cookies for Santa Claus, now you know it's your dad. We used to have like whiskey. I can never figure out why Santa Claus wanted whiskey.
Our Santa Claus liked beer.
So I do this with, who's ever heard of David Copperfield?
Yeah.
He's the guy that flies around on Peter Pan, right? He does illusions.
Yeah.
That's different than magic. Okay, so I'm going to explain it. I'll create this illusion. Tell me if that looks like a break. That looks like a rope?
Yeah.
See, that's an illusion because I didn't do anything happen. Okay? What I do is that I just make it look like it broke. So you see, it looks like separate pieces, right? And I can use this as an analogy, like for event planning. There's a lot of different elements when you're planning an event. The venue, the caterer, the audiovisual, the invitations, all that kind of stuff. It actually looks like separate pieces, doesn't it? That's the illusion part. So what I do is I take all these pieces like this in what I call a barehanded fuse welding process. And the pieces will actually take perspiration with my fingers like this and they'll stick together. See how they're all sticking together in a little ball like that? I can take that little ball and I can stick it on here like this. When I pinch, it'll stay there. And it'll appear as an illusion. It'll look like one piece. Does it look like one piece? If you want to see magic, you just do this.
Oh, nice.
Ta-da! It's an event. One event.
Facial expressions.
Okay, I'll do that finger thing again. I'll do that finger thing again. This is the perception thing. Like, is it Santa Claus or is it your dad? Because it takes a lot out of it. It's all perception. An analogy I use with some of this is like, would you rather have a $100 bill or a glass of water?
$100.
Unless you're in the desert.
Yeah.
So it's all about environment. So it's perception of your perceived, like these two fingers, they look like they're the same size, right? Approximately. That's from your point of view. From my point of view, this one looks a lot longer than that one.
What the?
I know!
Okay, that's a bone thing.
This is a ring. Some people call it a ring. I call it air with metal around it. That's called dexterity or showing off. This is my wedding ring. If my wife caught me, thought I'd get in trouble, so I keep it. Okay. So that's what I got involved with as a kid. My brain was programmed differently than everybody else's because I'm looking behind the scenes on stuff. So it's weird living this way. Anyways, I want to kind of get into a Q&A thing. If anybody's got any ideas or suggestions or they want to ask a question of the whole event marketing concept and why I do what I do, you can come in if you want.
I just imagine.
You're a little late. Do you have a note? No. You don't need a note. What?
I have just a magic question.
What's a magic question? I like that.
If you wanted to slip a watch off someone's wrist like they do in the movies, could you do that?
Yep.
Oh my gosh, that's insane.
It is insane. The interesting thing about magic is the way that humans focus. I'll tell you a story about Rio de Janeiro, about that exact same thing. People focus on one thing. So there's 360 degrees. There's 359 degrees of error. So it's easy to do something like that if you don't know. So here's the story. Me and my best friend, and we started doing magic when we were kids, like 5, 6 years old. He still does it, I still do it. We were at vacation in Rio de Janeiro. We're walking down the street, hands in our pockets like this, with a group of people. 2 girls come walk up and they go, cigarette, cigarette? No, we don't smoke. And they go, sex? She goes up to my friend Dave. He's got his hands in his pockets like this. One puts her arm around like this, so she's on this side, she's got her arm around here. The other one puts her arm inside of here and hugs him. So what does that do? It pulls his arm out a little bit. The other one goes inside the pocket,
Nah.
pulls the money out. There's a cab going down the street with the door ajar. They get in the cab and they're gone. And that happened in like 5 steps. Because when they hit, I was walking in front, and we were walking along, and all of a sudden, Dave's been hit. And I turn around and he's going. We go back to the hotel to get some more money. I'm walking along, 2 girls come up to me and they go, "Cigarette?" I go, "Get away from me." So he's a magician. He actually does a pickpocket act. So a magician can be fooled too, because when you're distracted by, good-looking girls and all that lights, you don't know that they're taking your money out of your pocket. So there's your answer to that. Yes, you can do that.
So
So
everybody check your
magic,
pocket.
you got to. Well, but I entertainer, not a thief.
Yeah.
So who's got another question? Come on.
Lori, you were asking if he has any bunnies with
I
him.
went in bunnies or birds.
Bunnies or
Work
birds?
with animals.
We used to. It's interesting. This is all going into the magic thing. Yes, we used to have 2 rabbits, a black one and a white one, and 10 doves.
Yeah.
And we did an act with 2 girls and all these animals, and it got to be too much like work, so my partner and I, we just kind of split up and decided to do card tricks because it's so much easier.
So when you're at an event and someone hires you, so what are the type, what is your strategy then, just to kind of, like I think you said, kind of slow them down to kind of bring that in?
Depends on what they're being hired for.
Okay.
So if it's at a trade show, when you're doing it, working in a trade show booth, your job is to stop the traffic and then attract that attention, convey a message, and then turn them over to the sales staff. And a lot of people, when they do trade shows, back on the event thing, they're handing out literature. And they get back to the office and go, "We handed out 5,000 brochures." And then they go back on Monday and they're waiting for the phone to ring. The way you do it is you ask questions. So the magic at a booth, you can just use flashy stuff like this, and they stop, and then you get the conversation going. You say, by a raise of hands, how many people here are the purchasing manager for your company? And the people that raise their hands are the ones that you want to target, and the sales team is in the back watching the hands that are raised. So then as you're conversing and you do the magic with the string and with the cards or whatever, you can tie it in with the community. I'll do a card trick for you as an example of that. And you can tie it in verbally with that, and it's like entertaining, but the sales staff is watching all these people that are the marketing manager. And being a magician, I can just ask those questions like, when was the last time, what's your buy cycle? You buy every 3 months, 6 months, or a year? And people say, 3 months. Now the salespeople are getting all that information in their head, and these questions are what's drawing that information out to these people. So if you use the words who, what, where, when, how, or why in front of any sentence, the person has to answer that question, and that's what gives you the information. So when you ask a question like when was how many units did you buy last year? How many did you budget for? That gives you an idea of how much money they've got. So you can ask those questions instead of just saying, "Here's a brochure, call us on Monday." So at a trade show, it's all really about getting information as opposed to spewing it out. Should I do the card trick?
Yeah.
Because that's more fun than this educational stuff. Do this little card trick. Ta-da! Seeing you're here, might as well use you, right?
Yeah.
Here, feel that one. That's a felt pen.
It's a pen.
Get it? It's felt.
Yeah.
It's a bad joke. Here, you take a card out.
Okay.
That's a hard one. We do it easy to face up. What do you want?
Sure.
Okay. It's my trick. This is what I want you to do. You pick the card, and you're going to take the pen. I want you to write your name across the face of the card and make it unique from all the cards in the whole world. Just take it, put your name on there, and then your social security number below that.
Yeah.
Hand back, or recap. So, have you ever done it to a 4 club before? Put your name on it like
No.
that? So there's only one card like that in the whole world, right?
At this point, yeah.
That does 3 things. Number 1, it wrecks my card.
Yeah.
I don't know, I think I made it better.
So, you know, it's a shifting of perception. Now I got an autograph on her, I can sell it on eBay.
Right.
Okay, take the card. Take the card and stick it. Back on top of the
This
deck.
way?
Okay, so it makes it unique from all cards in the whole world because there's no other 4 clubs with her name on it. Like, that's now more valuable. And 3, it makes it your business card.
You guys don't secretly know each other.
Yeah, right.
From
Yeah,
before
then you
this.
get them
Maybe.
Very, very skeptical.
Take a little
She
squeeze.
has 2 cameras.
Yeah.
one for the
Put your business card in the center of the pack like this, and I give it a little squeeze. It's a little squeeze that does it. You gotta push that little elevator button and open it up. It comes to the top, just like that. Just like that. It makes sense, it makes sense. So, here's the idea. The card goes about halfway down. Give it a little squeeze and push. And the card comes to the top, just like that.
No, that is not possible.
She's been busy signing 4 clubs for 24 hours.
How? I watched that so carefully. What?
The idea,
I thought you were gonna have to teach us.
that's why I haven't put her name on the card so you know that it's unique. So the idea
I think that magic class could be a really good seminar that we would want to go to.
So it goes about halfway down. This is between Minneapolis and St. Paul. Okay, so in fact, I'll go way down even deeper, way down deeper, way down deep like that. So it's about, watch the edge of the card. Okay. See it?
Yeah.
I'm not going to move very fast. Watch the edge of the card.
He's done.
Watch.
I don't understand what's happening.
Isn't that weird? So that's the idea. If you use magic in your marketing, you can make your business come to the top. Because that's what you want to be. You want to top of mind. It's kind of like the SEO thing. You want to be top of Google. You want to be top of mind. So here's the idea. Here's what's happening. The secret pinky move. I push it over like that. I push one card forward. That would be your card, the 4 clubs. And when you're not watching, I take it and I slide it inside of here like this. Then I do the secret pinky move like that brings it to the top. Did you see it go?
No.
If you did,
It's
you're
not
crazy.
there anymore. Yeah, because you, no.
You gotta give it a little push like that and come to the top, just like that, see?
I don't understand.
This was taught to me by a friend of mine, Nick Jagger. Okay, that's a bad joke. Actually, what's happening here is I'm making this card unique from all the others. You've heard of the logo, right? Like you got the brand with the orange and stuff, she still wears it, and the coffee cups are.
You
Very
probably have my
branded.
orange glasses on today.
So that puts that puts a logo in your card, so it's unique. These are straight, this one's bent. Okay? So the bent one goes about halfway down. Well, 3/4 way down. Here we go, it's on its way out. It's 3rd, 2nd, 1st. Come on. There it is. Take it off, show it to your friends. Did it work?
What's happening?
Did it work? Oh, good, thank you. It's got a bend in it. Which proves today is the luckiest day of my life.
Today's the luckiest.
This one's for you. You ready? You're gonna make it. You're gonna make it work. Okay? Do you know how to shuffle?
I mean, I think so.
Could you do this? Just take it. Just touch the elevator button. It'll come to the top.
This is really happening.
Can I touch that too?
Poof! You can turn it over and show it to everybody.
No.
Show it.
Oh.
It's. Oh, what? You don't goof up at your job? That's okay. That's okay. I got a spare. I got a spare one I keep over here. We use this one.
You are joking me.
Got it. Okay, we'll make them all disappear. You ready? You say go, they'll all disappear. Go.
Go.
Sorry, I brought that up. Ready. So that's the card trick. Normally when I'm doing that, I try and weave the company's scripting and stuff into it and use that with the whole concept of rising and putting it between the competitors and being unique and different. And all that. So it's a non-threatening way to market a product or service. So back to the event element of stuff, events can be done that way too, you know. Like, as an example, we all know this, you do this event so that people can come and see this place and become members.
Right.
So it's camouflaged as an educational workshop. What's the real agenda? And that's the same when you go to, like if you invite everybody on the boat as a real estate agent, you've got a hidden agenda. When you get those things in the mail where the financial planners invite you out to a free dinner at Morton's, you know there's an agenda. But when it's an event, it's more casual fun and nobody knows that they're being prospected, right? Because you're all being prospected now. So maybe you'll hire me or come to one of my events or something someday. I don't know. Anybody else have any questions?
So you're hired by companies to like be at the front of their vendor booth at like a show
That
or
could be
something?
one,
Okay,
as far as
that's
doing
one of the
magic.
things.
I'm also hired by companies just to talk about event marketing
Oh, okay.
strategy. We also produced a trade show called the Great Minnesota Event Show back in the 90s, and now it's called the Minnesota Event Expo. It's for event planners to come and find out their resources. The company is Synergy Event Marketing, so the concept of synergy is 1 + 1 = 11. So when you work with us together, we can accomplish much more because it exponentially grows and using a live event. Again, to me, it's just jumping over the hurdle of getting people off this internet thing into a live event so you can develop a relationship. How many people here have seen me before? They're familiar with who I am. See, not that many. But now that I've seen your face, when we go to an event, you're gonna go, hey, you were over at that place. But I almost guarantee if you're on Facebook, you've probably seen something of mine, or LinkedIn or something. I just got stuff all over the place. But on social media and the internet, you don't connect. There's no real relationship happening. So if you get people off the internet into a live event, on a boat for 3 hours, or at a cocktail party for 2 hours, you've got so much more going for you as far as developing a real relationship. And again, you don't necessarily have to rent a party room. You can just sponsor an event. Like I'm sure you would accept some money if someone was to sponsor one of these functions. You probably got that kind of stuff.
Probably
So
I
that-
might.
You can-
Depends on what they want.
There are
Exactly.
What time are we at?
We're good, we're good. We have people who ask me questions and we're just as
I'm
22.
open to other questions.
What's your favorite part of your job or everything that you do professionally?
It's a love-hate relationship, my favorite part, because I like the newness that happens. Every event, but I've been doing the Event Expo since 1990. It's always different. Even if it's the same, there's always something that's different. So that's kind of what I like, is I like the surprises. I sometimes hate the surprises. That's a good question. And the other thing I like about it is the ability to put a buyer in front of a seller and then step away and let it happen. Because
Right.
there's some people that try and do, I call it like forced marketing. You try and match people up. Even if people are like, I'm buying a house and I have a house for sale, if you don't like each other, it ain't gonna happen. So to me, it's better just put them in the room and just kind of step back and let them do their thing, and then all of a sudden they kind of bond together, and then it's real instead of this logical internet matchmaking thing. There's a new app called Alignment. Seen it? You're on it, all of a sudden the person says, hey, I think we should get together for coffee. I think, cool. Another one comes in, hey, I think we should get together for coffee. It's two of them doing the same thing. It's not a human. It's somebody else. You know, it's a program. So, anyways, get off your soapbox. Who's got another question?
Got a question. So you talked about how valuable a magician can be in a trade show booth, and that's pretty eye-opening, what you can accomplish. What are other ways that you can use to?
There's a guy, he calls himself Chef Antone. He does pool, billiards. He brings a billiard table and does trick shots in the trade show booth. There's another guy, this is a weird one, he calls himself the zip code man. You can say whatever city you're from, and he'll tell you what your zip code is. He stands up there and talks. I've got my magician friend, and you would never know he's a magician because he's doing very stuff that doesn't look like magic tricks. There's the robotic mannequin kind of thing, where they just stand up there and do stuff and hand out brochures to people. There's a lot of different stuff that you can do. We used to have a relaxation station, and we do a chair massage thing. So people are walking the show and they want to sit down. There's a chair massage and they put their face in that little thing, and there's a brochure they can read while they're sitting there. So just getting creative. Glad you mentioned that, because I've got all these
People always
documents.
like candy and cookies or some type of a giveaway too. I think that, sometimes.
They do, but
Or
my
a drawing or something.
My friend Ron says whatever it is has to qualify. Somehow has to qualify. 'Cause
Oh, okay.
I get fat going getting all that candy.
Yeah,
free
exactly.
candy, but I don't remember who they were.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
if someone does like that spin the wheel thing
Yeah.
and they earn the candy,
Right, I see what you're saying. That's a good idea.
or like you see sometimes people say, hey, free TV, and they're selling like home improvement siding or something. And then they call on Monday, hi, I saw you at the trade show, this is Steve with Acme Roofing, and did I win the TV? No, but you want your side?
Yeah. And then you find out nobody won the TV.
Well, don't find that out, that's not legal, is it?
I know, but I think that sometimes that
I think-
happens.
I've heard of people going to Target and renting a TV, or getting a TV and then returning it after the show.
Oh, that's not good.
There's other things, these are the thing that happened to, I just read about this, I wasn't there, but his drayage company didn't bring his display, all of his stuff for his big 40 by 40 booth. Nothing was there, nothing showed up. So what did he do? He went to the dumpster, got a piece of cardboard and a marker, and says, you know what happened, talk to me anyway. And he just sat there with his sign, and people came and talked to
Oh
him.
my gosh, funny. I would stop for that.
Yeah,
Yeah. So he made it work, but that's a good example of, I mean, it's nice to have displays and things, but do you really need them? Are they really that important? And if they are, they need to somehow qualify so that the person that's coming up to booth isn't just grabbing your candy or spinning to win the squeezy ball. There's a lot of, like I was mentioning, I got these PDF documents available, and one is like getting sponsored revenue ideas, and it's different ideas like that chair massage thing, or you might want to sponsor an aisle sign or something, or sponsor the bar, or sponsor a coffee break, or whatever, to get you that higher exposure. And oftentimes it isn't that expensive. I mean, if you're like, I don't know who did the pizza thing, is it just you bought it from Domino's or something? Or,
Yeah, we
so
buy
Domino's is
pizza.
getting free exposure.
Yeah.
Plus you paid for it.
Uh-huh.
They shouldn't be doing that.
Right.
Talk to a pizza place. Give them the exposure.
And people like to be on our signage in the offices too. You know,
Yep.
you can rent a space for a month and it's a very low price, and the community really does look at that signage. There's a lot of things that we do within this community group that we have here, called office centers. You know, we have 1,500 members. And why wouldn't you like to sell to one another or have that exposure like Brad did today? You know.
That's one of the things I like to do when I go into an office complex is go through the alphabetical list and see who's here.
Yeah.
Like Amy Lemansky, is she active here? She's an event planner. Events. What are your
Just
customers?
1,500.
It's hard to, some people,
Yeah.
they just get an office here so they can use it once in a while, but
Right,
she's an event
absolutely.
planner, and I saw her on there, so that they go through that list and they look at that stuff. And then it boosts my ego when I see my little thing on the monitor when I walk by and stuff.
Yeah.
It's nice. Yeah, we talk about that too, you know. I know that Haley's really pretty new, and I used to always tell my sister, this is a magic place, because look at all the things that happen here. And I didn't give you the fairy dust, but I said that most of the time I like our people to go in the morning and walk through the halls and sprinkle the fairy dust, because this is where people's dreams come true. My sister said to me, you would think it was Disneyland. And I said, to me, this is Disneyland, because I see people feeding their families and making their life and growing their businesses, and those are the things that are magic at Office Center. So we have such a great synergy here that, you know, it kind of made me get chills today when we were here. So, and that doesn't happen every time at PowerLunch, does it? That doesn't happen
That's
every week
another
at
thing, is you never know what the
PowerLunch.
bicycle is. I've known of her since the late 70s, early 90s, and we just recently got a space in it. Sometimes it takes time.
Yeah.
Anyways, thank you.
Okay, yes.
Products and graduated in the 70s, and I'm going to tell you I'm older than you are, so I hate you more. So I hate you more. Yeah. Okay, thank you so much. This is one that if you want to share it with your friends, it will be on our YouTube channel as of tomorrow or Monday, and we will probably always send it out next week at This Week at Office Centers, because I think there were a lot of great nuggets, and plus we love the magic. When you can entertain and give us good stuff, that's doubly good. And let me just tell you, we still have one last week of buy one get one Monday, so if you know of anybody who wants to sign up for a virtual plan, this Monday is the last buy one get one. You will get your second month free. Work free Fridays, that's tomorrow. Anybody can come in and work free.
Monday, August 26th is National Dog Day. Bring your dog to work day. We are having Yappy Hour at Woodbury, which is our only dog-friendly location. But come on over with the puppy. And guess what? Our great photographer, our brand manager, Will, is going to be taking free pictures of you and your pet if you come over on Monday. Tuesday, our resident guru, Google guru, his name isn't on here. Do you know who that would be? He's going to be having a session, Understanding Google Analytics at Park Office Center here from 10 to 11:30 on Tuesday with who? Ben Tice for school. Yeah, he's going to be here on Monday. I was like, his name isn't on here, and then he left the room at the same time. Wednesday it's been, we are going to celebrate. August is over, and it's been a dilly of a month, so we'll be having dilly bars on Wednesday. And that's because it's the hottest day this month. We have ended, all of my staff is exhausted. So we need some sugar to spark us up, and we'll be doing all of those. We'll be kicking off September with park networking on the 5th of September. Can you believe it's September?
No.
The fair started today. We always had stands at the state fair when I was a little kid, and I would always say that was the end. I would know we'd have to work my butt off for the next 12 days. 10 days in the beginning, 12 days at the end, and then we would be going to school, so it was over. Today was the day I knew it was over. And then we're going to be hosting a Slice of Woodbury event. That's Tuesday, September 17th. If you haven't been to our Woodbury location, we have a lot of people at this event. You can get 30 to 35 brand new people that you've never seen at these locations before, because somehow Woodbury and St. Paul, they get afraid to cross this river and come on this side of town. So let's be brave. You guys be brave and go over and meet them, because there's a whole bunch of people waiting to buy your stuff over there.
Yeah.
Ben does come over there, so he knows that.
Isn't the salsa guys over there
The
too?
salsa guys are
so
over there.
good.
They have the best salsa. They
Really
really
do.
do.
Yeah.
They're Joe Mama Salsa, and then anything that you buy, part of it goes to their Randy Shaver Cancer Fund, and there are clients in our Minnetonka location, so that's a good thing. Thursday the 26th, we have a power lunch again. Chris Thibodeau speaking on selling without distractions. This has been a good one. Thank you so much.
Yes.
I really appreciate it.
Yes.
Trying for the Instagram videos.
Wednesday, right?
Next Thursday.
Next Thursday, we're gonna do it live. So we're gonna live stream into all the places. We even have a big check that we're gonna put your name on. Someone is gonna win $500. Now, can I tell you, right now, what do we have? 15 or 20 entrants?
something like that.
So if you put your 15-second video in, there is a very high chance that you could be a winner. I mean, this is not like Powerball or Lotto. I mean, your chances are pretty damn good that if you go in there, they're probably better than anything else. So Brad, a trick and a video from you today, please. And you know what, in one of our office center, yesterday I just went up and I said to a few people when we had our picnic lunch downtown, hi, Daryl Gullickson was down there from here at Park. And I said, hey Daryl, can you tell us why you love office centers? And he gave me his and we turned it off, done, he was done. This is all we're looking for. You guys were so good. But you know, you could have each entered.
I know, I might do.
You could have. I was going to say that could be Ben's entry. And you, I mean, we take more than one per person. All right, thank you so much.
Good. Thank you.
So much. Thank you. Well, we co-work because of you. That's what it's all about.
Yep.